My name is Dave, and I welcome you to Soul Ascension Insights. In this episode, I'll tell a different creation story and try to answer the question, do aliens believe in God? With that said, let's get started with episode number 9, titled God, ETs, and Creation. From the Bible to Darwin's theory of evolution, even the story of the Anunnaki, each are versions of a creation story of planet Earth. Here is yet another creation story from a channeled extraterrestrial that starts with an alien craft containing 3 crew members collecting soil and vegetation samples from a very young Earth. The Earth had been seeded with soil and vegetation, and they were checking to see if this vegetation was thriving in the environment and able to sustain life. They put the samples in a scout ship, flew them to the mothership, which took them to the central or super universe for analysis. Super universe turns out to be where God lives. Quote, "The point of origin from which all creation is referenced. For in this super universe there is the residence of He who is, the most high exalted ruler of all creation, the God, as He is called on planet Earth. This is the central point of all creation from which the entirety of creation revolves. All advanced civilizations recognize the same God, for He is one and He is all. He is recognized by different names and concepts, but His essence is recognized by all. For He is as we are of Him. He is not an entity, He is. And that is all that can be said at this level of comprehension. But there is a residence, the Hall of God, which is the residence which He emanates from and is central to," end quote. So in this creation story, God directs the ETs, and the ETs do God's bidding as they work together to bring life to different planets. Let's get back to the story. The aliens and ships collecting samples are part of an expeditionary force, whose job is to travel to those planets which have been approved to be life-bearing planets. Quote, "The seeding was done by a separate and commissioned groups of ships and ETs whose sole purpose was to seed the planet. So, you may now be told that human life and many other life forms on planet Earth were seeded intentionally and grown from a garden state. There was the seeding, the exploration, the charting, the graphing, etc. There is much to do in an undertaking such as this, for it is not merely casting seeds in the wind. It is very well planned and orchestrated. We are speaking of an actual physical seeding, such as planting cells in a hospitable environment, like the water of a lagoon or in a swamp or on the forest floor, and then allowing them to germinate and grow from there. The seeding of atmosphere, water, soil, vegetation, animals, and humans was long-term, careful, and attentive gardening to ensure that all was perfectly adapted for life on Earth. The introduction of a soul or spirit was a gradual process also, which was accomplished after the human body had reached the stage where it could integrate the soul energy. We may ask that you consider the Bible and Darwin's theory, and you will see that both have a share of truth in them. For truly, there was the evolution of the body, and yet truly, there was the divine gift of life given to humans, that is spirit. So each is right and part of the whole. The children are performing the task, God simply is. The children are doing, God is. End quote. All right, let's do a quick recap. So God chooses which planets will be gifted the blessing of life. There are council meetings about how to proceed, and different alien groups are responsible for different aspects of planetary life. One group is responsible for the atmosphere, another for the water, soil and vegetation, animals, and so on. It all sounds very well planned and organized. And so far, everything sounds perfect in Earth's creation story. So let's get back to our channeled extraterrestrial and continue the story. For even with the knowledge we had available, all is not in complete control on all levels. Even on the angelic and superangelic levels, plans are made and can be disrupted. A meteor from another part of the universe crashed into Earth. It brought with it a disfiguring, disrupting virus in life organisms, which grew in a very receptive environment. The outside or interfering life forms found an easy place in which to grow, and so mingled with the life forms which were already growing at the time. In the many groups and councils working on the Earth project, there was much sadness and confusion. For the possibility of this was not foreseen and was at first not perceived. However, when the situation became apparent, there was much sorrow and disheartened feelings. For when one's prized garden is suddenly spoiled, you can see the effect it would have on the gardener. The soil itself had been contaminated. There was accidentally given to the planet a stock of genes and genetic material, which then caused the breakdown of bodily functions. This was the origin of disease on your planet. For originally, had the planet not been fouled, there would have been no disease. There would have been natural death, but there would have been no disease, which has caused such pain and suffering on this planet." End quote. How's that for a creation story? You know, all through my readings about channeling advanced high consciousness souls, even extraterrestrials, they all speak with great reverence about God or Source. Some of the references they use for God are all that is, He who is, the creator of all. His children are doing the tasks, God simply is. The reality of God is unchanging in all the universe, in all creation. All that is God. God is, and we are all part of God individually. My favorite God reference from these advanced beings is the dreamer who dreams the dream. Some of the content of this show is from Dolores Cannon's books, Keepers of the Garden and The Custodians. As Miss Cannon would be finishing up a typical past life regression, she would ask the subject's subconscious if there was anything else the subject should know. Mostly, the answers concerned whether the subject was on track with pre-birth planning goals. But other times, they had information specifically for Dolores about a wide range of subjects. They were aware of her work and the book she was writing and provided information that they wanted her to disclose. If you like this type of content, start reading her books. They do not disappoint. That will end this week's episode of Soul Ascension Insights. Hope you enjoyed it. Please join me for next week's episode, where I'll tell the story of traveling to the Hollow Earth. Let me know what you think of the channel in the comments or through the email address below. As always, I'll leave a book and media list for those who wish to explore further. Thanks again, and I'll be back with more episodes.